Okay, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through what bid strategy you should be using for your Google Ads campaign. This is not for e-commerce. This is for service-based businesses. So think, skilled trades, anyone who sells a service to a person. This can likely be implemented by you. E-commerce is a little different. It's outside my realm. Don't really want to dive into it. But we'll go with service-based businesses for this video, specifically the skilled trades, which I focus on. When considering what bidding strategy you should be using, generally a good principle is automated is almost always better than manual. The reason for this is because Google's AI can optimize campaigns better than a human can, every time. The issue with this, and I say but there's a contingency here. If Google's AI doesn't have access to data, it is worse than a human because it doesn't know what to do right off the bat. So if you give Google enough data and then let it run with it, it will outperform a human, but it needs that data. That's the important part. So what we like to do is we like to set a manual bidding strategy for the first month or 2 months, depending on how many leads we're getting, and then convert it over to an automating bidding strategy where we let Google's AI, adjust those super niche, super small bid adjustments, and it'll optimize better than a normal human can. And it realistically, um, there's no real reason to go into that. Google's going to do it better than a human can. So let Google take it over when you have enough data. But the big factor is how much data do you need and how accurate is that data? If you have no data whatsoever in an account, you should be sticking with a manual bidding strategy, trying to get as many clicks as possible, as much data into the account as possible. That way you can give the reins over to Google in month 2 or 3. We like to go with at least 20 to 30 leads in one given month, and then we'll give it over to Google. That way it knows what it's looking for. If you let Google just go for anything, there's an issue here. So I see a lot of times people who run broad match, Google will optimize for bad clicks, and that's not good. So think about someone who types in DIY, HVAC, and is looking for someone to give them ideas or something, or DIY or HVAC tips, HVAC help. Google sees that as a lead. So then it goes, oh, I just got a lead, count that as a win. We're going to optimize for that. That's bad. You don't want that to happen. Otherwise, you might as well just start the account over because Google's going to go down that lane and go, we found, an excellent source. That's what we want. We don't want that. We want high quality leads. So that's why we like to take the reins, at least in the first 2 months, and use manual bidding strategies. We like to prefer maximize clicks, just so it does take a little bit of the bidding. It does take a little bit of Google's AI and optimizes for it, so it gets as many clicks as possible. That way, we get as much data as we can on the keywords we want. We don't want to be targeting, just broad match stuff that will never ever apply to us. That's very important. The next factor is how accurate is that data. This goes back into what I just said on we don't want to optimize for bad data. In a perfect world, we'd have your lead click on your ad, they then call you on the landing page, then it would go into a CRM and it would tell whether or not they converted into a customer, and then that would relay back to Google Ads and say, yeah, count that as a win. In reality, chances are most companies aren't doing that. They're going off leads. They're getting the data from the landing page, so that's what they're counting as a win. So that's generally how it happens, and it's good based on the owner of the business or the sales team calling you saying, "Hey, these leads are terrible. They're good," and the keywords you're using. If you have a very vague keyword like broad match, and it's going over, like I said, DIY HVAC, it's going to be worthless. It really is. That lead, just throw it out the garbage most of the time. All right, once we're done with month one, month 1 or 2, I should say, and we've done our maximize clicks, we've got the data into the account, and then we know the data is accurate. We're getting good information from the business owner or the sales team, and we know the keywords are being targeted well. We then go into the automated bidding strategies. We prefer target cost per acquisition. That is the best one, I feel, because it allows Google some wiggle room to do what it wants. I see a lot of accounts running maximized conversions. That's also very good. The issue with this sometimes is it may favor getting more acquisitions at a lower cost, and it won't spend all the money. So that's what I see sometimes, and I kind of want to let Google's AI have as much free roam as it can within the confines we put with our keywords, with our negative stuff like that, to keep it reined in, but let it have as much ability to learn and to optimize the account as possible. And I find target cost per acquisition does that the best. It says action here, but it stands for the same thing, acquisition. Target return on ad spend, essentially the same thing. You're just looking at a percentage instead of the actual number value. Maximize conversion value, again, same thing. Enhance cost per click. This is different. This is actually taking more of an initiative, going in, manually adjusting things. I don't really like it. I think Google does a better job than most people, and chances are it's going to do a better job. I stick with target cost per acquisition. Sometimes maximum conversion depends on the account. But generally, all of those are really good. Enhanced cost per click, I might tend to stay away from. But those four, generally, you go with one of those. You really can't mess up. They all essentially do the same thing, just written differently, essentially. But that being said, those are the things I would consider when looking at and coming up with what bidding strategy you should be using. If you have a crap ton of data in the account already and you're like, hey, what bidding strategy should I be using? I would go with an automating bidding strategy, provided the data is accurate. If it's garbage data, go to a maximum CPC or create a new account. Then start with sorry, not maximum CPC, maximum clicks. Start a new account, run that, get accurate data, make sure the data is good, and then let Google's reins take over. Because if Google takes over and it's bringing in crappy quality leads, it will continue to bring in crappy quality leads. That's my recommendations for that. Hopefully this gives you a good idea. Hopefully you like the video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and take care.